Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ESEA MDL. We're going to be going in with another day, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think we've only got a couple of games today. It's going to be Virtus Pro and Fours kicking things off. Two teams, sort of opposite ends, I would say, at the table. Obviously, VP complete rebuild, and although Fours did change a lot of their roster from what we saw in the past, I actually really like this Fours roster. I've been playing a lot of good Counter-Strike recently. A lot of CIS teams have been giving them props and saying how well they've been playing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see them give Virtus Pro, if not a run for their money, just actually take the win.
Could be fun, definitely. And I mean, VP always something where you can see pretty much all kinds of Counter-Strike coming up from any one of them. So let's see what exactly is going to be presented to us today. As soon as I can get my observer cam to work, because for some reason it's stuck. Right.
Well,
yeah.
I can carry
So
on.
my
Mine's working
CS
fine.
isn't working.
Well, you give that a retry. I'll cast the round. We are into our pistol round. It is going to be a little bit of a push from Flick coming up towards short. The rest of the team actually positions over towards long at the moment, but the deep smoke's going to be thrown out. And Bialy looks like he's trying to boost over the top of it. I like this. They've given a little bit of an angle, and if the push comes through long, it's going to be some great positioning. The problem is they need to section off short as well, because if the push comes through and there isn't anybody else there, it might not work, but they haven't actually been able to counter this early on. XE Power will be able to trade one back and keep it into a 4v4, but the CT is already well in place to get on towards this site. XE Power with another double, though. 2 more kills to his name and turns it right back into this 2 versus 2. Snax, however, will add another to the death toll and leave it all onto Jerry. 13 HP. He's not going to be able to do anything, and VP have themselves a really nice pistol round, actually.
It's particularly impressive that even the Forza were able to get onto the site like that, and XE Power did, of course, take control pretty effectively. You're still seeing VP being able to shut out the Russian side for long enough that the bomb plant basically can't go down. So Forza, who were stuck in between a rock and a hard place, with VP coming up from long, really couldn't get that down, and so you can see the impact on their economy. That said, of course, it's not the good old days of 3 rounds from pistol round. It's a little bit different, so we're probably still going to see a buy coming out from them in the next one, especially with XE Power's 2800 in this round. Now, question comes through whether or not they can actually get a little bit more done. Snax himself has gone for a 5-7. Interestingly enough, Mihu starts off strong, will be going for a bit more, but Almazar is able to trade away.
Yeah, obviously, likely in the knowledge that there's not going to be much of an investment here from the T side, but the short take could make things a little bit interesting. Now, they do have the bomb in the hands of Flip, but unfortunately, he's going to be finished off before he can get towards the side. But yeah, I think you do see a lot of players, in fact, even just go for a USP in round number 2 if you win as the CT side. There's no bomb plant, because likelihood is they're just going to save for the AKs. And actually, we're going to see not only the SG come into play for Jerry, but also a glass cannon AWP for XE Power. So looking to try and find that early damage, use that up to his advantage, and there you go. Snax is out of the round within the first few seconds, and Bialy's tagged within inches of his life as well. He's still going to be facing in towards middle, obviously wanting to try and section off that portion of the map, but he's looking high. The man's just a little bit lower down. Will spot him out, and actually, him and Mihu have quickly turned this round into their favor.
Twag has to be careful, but now Bialy's here with some backup. Twag gets himself 2 as well with the Fama, something that I would normally say is practically impossible so far. That despite the very good start early in, where XE Power was able to get 1 and tag the second, they're not quite able to translate that into a round win. Slightly surprising, but VP with a very strong hold. And Bialy, look at him. MP9 pulled out still. Got that moneymaker. 2 AKs on the CT side as well. So things are looking pretty good for them. Meanwhile, Forza just has to try and get some damage in. They know they're not going to be winning this round. But that said, they are going very quickly towards B, which was completely empty. But they decide against it as they turn tail. And Twao will make his way into the site successfully, perhaps something that should not have been allowed to happen. Meanwhile, Face Crack gets 1, but Snax immediately after trades it away and keeps himself alive, but has to be careful. There's a lot of players coming his way. Grenade goes through, and now he's got the op to pull out 1 more.
Trying to hold on to the cross. Nice shot with the Deeg. We'll put down Snax and actually get a little bit of weaponry into their hands, if they can get to it, that is. The cross being held by Toa with that AK. Face Crack is going to fall. Another kill with the pistol, so they're doing a hell of a lot of damage at the moment. and leaving Snatchy and Bialy with everything left to do. However, Bialy has been an absolute tank so far. Manages to finish off one more and leaves it all onto Xe Power. Has managed to get himself an AK-47, but the fact is, he doesn't have control of the bomb. The only real factor would be is he pushes into Bialy and manages to catch him by surprise. Seems like that's not going to be the case, but actually hits the headshot. Takes him down, leaves it into the 1 versus 1. Snatchy with the AWP, and well, if he missed, maybe there was a little bit of hope, but that's not going to be the case.
You made it look dangerous over there, but now TWAU's 9k really comes into play. So Force, at the very least, they've kept themselves at a point where VP are forced to rebuy the double op setup. So if you win this round, at the very least, you've got some pretty decent economic positioning. But that is, of course, a big if. Jerry himself has got that SG, so staying true to the meta. But let's see how exactly they want to keep on going. Pop flashes out towards long. Bialy's a bit caught out from the side, and indeed he is. The man's already inside the pit, and Flit is going to be going for more. Snacks, though, in the meanwhile, takes down FaceCrack on the other side of the map, over towards the catwalk area. There are 3 players, and they're not stopping. Snatchy up next with the AWP, gets himself another one, and a second will be there on Almazar before being traded.
Trades back and forward, but again, it seems that the CT side are always the one to come out on top. It's left onto Mihu in the 1v1, and he loses it. It means Toa from behind will have the rest to do, and although the prediction comes in from Flit, he doesn't manage to do enough damage. Still, the flawless streak continues from Virtus Pro, but the fact is their money has never really built up, and it is the CT side, while just about stringing rounds together. The T's once more are just going to invest into some pistols, but the last time they attempted this, they were able to do a hell of a lot of damage and bring the round down to just 1 versus 1. So we'll see if they can achieve something more along those lines.
Could be a fast B play, which is something they're not really going for. Understandably, however, ironically, it could have been the right play at a few of these rounds. This round, maybe a little bit less so, but Bialy will be the main point of attack for them as they are making their way down tunnel. So Bialy, that flashbang could catch him out, but he turns around right in time to get 2 and dink the 3rd. FaceCrack will have his face cracked. But they keep hope alive as the bomb is still with them. As I say that though, Mihu is coming for the wraparound, so he could very well take that hope away. He's looking for the shots, but Xe Power will be the one to find it. Snatchy now has to put up a show, and well, the circus is on, and Snatchy is looking to get a few of those hoops around the Force X.
Yeah, once again, we see a pretty horrible situation for the T side, but they should, if they go towards short, have a free bomb plant. This has been completely negated by the CT side with Snacks, obviously trying to hold on to long, make sure they have control of pit for any sort of retake, and with the AWP and no armor, he's not really the man to want to try and challenge these players pushing in through short, but as said, they could have a free plant. The problem is Snacks is now ready and waiting in position with the AWP. Toa has managed to catch off another, and this leaves just the man with the bomb, but Snacks doesn't manage to connect. That's going to give another bomb plant, or at least an attempted one. It's all just faked out from Xe Power. He's going to instead go for that plant towards long. If he can get there, he's got a good opportunity to pick up that AWP, but instead, he's just going to opt to try and fight from the site. He doesn't know where these CTs are coming from, and they team up, they tag team, and get that 6th round on the board for VP.
Xe Power has been looking really good so far. I think there hasn't been a single round where he hasn't gotten a couple of kills. The scoreboard really reflects that as well. He's got 9 kills. The closest to him on the server is on the side of Virtus Pro, not including Snatchy, on Bialy. And on his own team, well, he's pretty much squaring up everyone. Now, it gets pretty upsetting when you have a higher kill score than your teammates by a power of 2. That's when things get a little bit ridiculous. That said, though, there's still plenty of rounds, and hopefully Forza can recover, and a few of those players can get into the groove.
Well, we
Just
are
a
going to
heads up,
see.
by the way, Tom, because I know you were paying attention to this one. Astralis has basically taken away every single one of their CT side rounds.
Oh, yeah.
And Renegades
I
is
was
pretty much
checking it on HLTV.
Yeah.
I've got... I can watch both at once. It's all good. I got skills. Anyway, we are going to be back into this one, and we do have a buy on both sides. Now, considering the scoreline, and then looking at the money, it's quite surprising, really. Both teams in an even playing ground. In fact, the T's actually have slightly more cash and now a man advantage. If they can finally steal one of these rounds away, they have a chance to actually just completely reset Virtus.pro. Because of that early pick, we can see the CT side looking for a little bit more aggression. You got Snax, Bialy making a play towards short. Toa deep in the tunnels. Now, this could be a bit of a problem as a lot of T players are coming around from that very angle. They may not expect him to be this aggressive, and if somebody peeks without much support, he may be able to even up the scoreline once again. Xe Power is going to be the one rounding the corner. The timing is unreal. Toa is just going to fall back into B as players round that corner. Unreal timing, and it actually buys some extra time for Virtus.pro as now the T side are going to be forced into pushing towards mid.
There they go. Again, it's going to be Bialy, who's been really the rock so far of middle. Whether he can continue that is yet to be seen, but noise has been made, information has been given, and that could end up being Bialy's cue to start pushing forward. He might be able to catch out a few of these players with flashes and smokes in their hand, but now Snax is backing off, realizing that there's possibility of aggression. Bialy also being a little bit more careful with 20 seconds left. They don't want to make any mistakes. Oh no, Snax has got himself an incendiary. This could be the big one, but he's going to be a little bit too late. He pulls out the op and gets one, and the incendiary will be able to burn the second down to 12. Flit may have killed Snax, but from beyond the grave, he's made it very difficult to get this bomb plant down. Regardless, though, they will be able to do so. Virtus.pro deciding to back off. They don't want to let Forza get a little bit too much headway in the economical game. Like you said earlier, Forza has already got a little bit extra cash over the CT side. Surprising to see in itself, but keep in mind, Tom, that Forza will be reset now if they do end up losing the next one. So Virtus.pro still have a good opportunity to be able to close out this half in double digits pretty easily.
Yeah, it's sort of a double-edged sword, really. Of course, Virtus.pro want to try and just smack them down here, keep the flawless streak going, but realistically, they're the ones with economy troubles. They're the ones that are going to have problems buying into the next round, whereas the Ts are going to have an abundance of cash saved onto a few players. Of course, they have to juggle a few weapons over, but even still, like you talk about FaceCrack probably ending this round with around 4,000 going into the next. And yeah, they won't actually have that much trouble buying into the next round, even with just a bomb plant. So it's good to see that the CT side are sort of going on their own economy rather than anything else. Double smoke into mid's definitely not going to help them out, but hey, they're actually going to go for quite a bit of aggression in towards the tunnels. Bialy, he's feeling confident today. He finds that opening pick. The re-aggression from Toa, I don't really like it. It's a lot of aggression over towards that tunnel spot, but he finds the kill anyway. He gets away with it and even going to retrieve himself. Well, initially at SG, decides that he'd rather have an AK instead. But the fact is, those are the sort of like horrible moments that you see from a T side that finally get themselves onto the board, and then, you know what, VP go, we're going to do something that you're never going to expect.
Keep an eye on Flit, though. He's got a gap in the smoke, and he's looking for more, but Snax on the side could be the one to take him down. However, he's revealed himself, so Flit has got a chance to fight back, and fight back he does. Leaves Snatchy feeling very lonely, and well, Snatchy, lonely he may be, but he's got some company. Unfortunately, he's not a particularly welcoming host, as Almazer will, at the end of the day, nade him down from the outside, says that he can stay lonely and he can die even lonelier.
That's nice and depressing. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I mean, I like to keep it nice and suitable for what's going on in the server.
Okay. Well, we do have that eco now coming in for the CT side. Not too much they can do about this one. Just going to try and stack towards short. Maybe go for some aggression into middle. Push that man waiting up at top mid. You can sometimes have an AWP. In this case, we have the bomb. Now, the B side is completely under the control of the terrorist side. The bomb's currently trying to run away, and they're going to manage to drop that in the tunnels. That is a bit of a mistake. I don't think it's really going to punish Fords too much. They have such an advantage with the weaponry, but those are sort of mistakes that if that happened in the buy round, that could lose you, well, maybe not the whole game. That's a bit extreme, but at least that round and potentially some economy. Either way, they get away with 4 players surviving in the end, and now we get a purchase back up onto that CT side. AUG's expected. And, well, we've already got 4, or 3, sorry. I expected a 4th, but Bialy and Mihu are not going with the trend. They're sticking with the hipster route of using the M4.
So now we finally find like a proper buy where they don't actually have AWP. So I'm interested to see how they adjust things. And it looks like aggression maybe they're way to go, but it might be too late because Jerry had already done it for that long. However, Mihu was quick to punish. Flit moves over to Catwalk instead. So seems like Forza weren't quite ready for that aggression to come through from Virtus Pro. They didn't actually end up losing too much other than just utility on their side as well, which is important when you keep in mind that they... Oh, never mind. Mihu keeps on going. I didn't expect him to be able to get that one personally, but important when you keep in mind that they don't have a kit, that they've got that early advantage.
Well, still plenty of time for the T's to play with, but they don't have much in terms of, well, anything. They've lost a lot of personnel. They got a lot of spare money, I suppose, and me who's still going. Pushed all the way towards T-Spoy. Looks like he wants a little bit more. I think he should meet his death this time. Although XE Power's not going to be able to connect the shot, and, well, pretty much all the information has been heard. You can see Bialy just waiting. The classic sort of mid-spot around those boxes. Even if there is a kill or two coming in, maybe a greedy me who goes down, there's no way they get past Bialy. And, well, that's going to be a 7th on the board. Of course, already spoke about the idea that with the last few rounds being so clean, already having some extra cash, fours are in no financial trouble at all just yet. But obviously already 7 rounds on the board on the CT side of what is still a fairly balanced map. You're going to expect fours to want to try and bounce back here.
And this is where things get tricky, right? Fours need to be able to come up with something new. So far, they've been going for a pretty basic default, where they just kind of take control of tunnels, go down towards low tunnels, try and go through mid. Worked out a few times from them, but long control has very much not. So VP, at the very least, have been forced to use quite a bit of that utility early in. They still don't have that double op setup that they've shown so much comfort on, which is probably why they don't have any form of mid control. Bialy might not be feeling confident in playing that same position as he was before, but Forza doesn't quite realize that either. So perhaps VP will end up regretting this decision. We'll have to wait to see. Snatchy is going to be the main man who's keeping an eye on mid right now, and he himself could be taken down pretty quickly if XE Power, who does have the AWP, just peeks his way. Snatchy waiting for the peek. XE, though, doesn't want to give it away. FaceCrack's going to be baiting out the shot, and with that, now the B site might be underneath heavy attack. 40 seconds on the clock.
Oh, the flashbang, though, from Snatch. He's fantastic. And he'll net himself, too, with Toa managing to find a second. These kills are important, as retaking that could be difficult. A nice shot will come out from XE Power, however, and that will give them control of the B site. Another from Jerry. And now this comes into quite a difficult retake for the CT side. No kit. Barely any utility. It's all just going to come down to finding, well, almost entries onto the site. With both players sort of homed in, this just isn't going to be happening. Jerry ready and waiting, but loses his life to Mihu. And XE Power taking a little bit of burn damage. Mihu manages to get past the AWP, but not the second time. This man has been on fire so far. 17-7 for XE Power. And while 7-4, as another round hits the board and money becomes a bit of an issue once again for the Poles.
It really makes you wonder why they don't go for these kits, though. I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out. They had quite a bit of money left, but I suppose, you know, rationing out your provisions towards the end of the half makes sense, but on that line, then probably just go for the save and a 2v2. Of course, 7-4 fours are in a great position to start bringing things back, and that's probably why we've seen a pause come through. I'd expect it from VP. 17 kills on XE Power, though. That man is having a lights out performance right now, Tom.
Yeah, this is sort of one of those classic like CIS players on what is pretty much the standard Angel map. Like, you give him a chance with that AWP, he's gonna win those battles. And like, we've seen it in the past from the likes of Guardian, who's just able to smack people down mid. And well, he seems to be doing that versus Virtus Pro at the moment. And I would be pretty careful peeking this man, as you're just going to take damage. Snatchy still takes the risk with the scout. And we do have a force buy in from Virtus Pro. I can't say I'm a massive fan. A team already in the lead. A chance to buy pretty much flawlessly in the next round. They decide to risk it all and potentially even give Fours a chance to even up the scoreline if they manage to win this round. But I guess you could say the T's are not in the best case either. Almeza He's picked off Snacks. Well, there hasn't even really been much damage. That's the thing you need from those double scouts. You need, at least if they're going down, they have to be hitting tags, and well, there haven't been any yet.
But Eagle can't get any tags either. XC and Face Crack just keep on going through, and they get the few kills that they needed. So it's kind of all on Twa with the M4 to see if he can save it or not. He might be able to find Jerry's back. Indeed, what? It's one of those games, Tom. It's one of those games.
Oh, Snatchy. Hoping he can hold on to his scout. Doesn't want to invest any money going into the next round. We know that this man wants to get an AWP. Because he's just going to be walking around a lot of these corners with the scope zoomed in, because rescoping at any point now has the potential to give away his position. So it's going to look quite peculiar if you watch from his POV, but you're just going to have the little, like, tunneled in vision. And yeah, he's just going to try and hold on to this, because there's not really much else he can hope for. Not going to happen, though. Misses the shot, and it will be falls with a fifth. Starting to bring this one back, and once again, the CT's unable to have those finances. And I think that was the big part of their CT side, the double AWP. It was fantastic early on. We saw Bialy wielding one at a point. Snatchy currently topping the server, excluding our man XC Power. And yeah, if we don't see those back in play, we may not see another round for Virtus.pro.
The other thing I'm kind of confused about as VP does go for an incorrect gamble towards the A site is when you look at VP's philosophy in buying up, I mentioned this before, it just doesn't really make sense to me, which is where, okay, fine, you go conservative at one point where you're not going for full 100% aggressive utility, incendiaries on everyone, things like that. In one round, you're not even getting a kit for people, even though you do have the money for at least 2 players. And then immediately after, you're not saving. So, all right, fine. Then in the round after, you go for a force buy, and you've got an M4, and you're still not saving, even though you're down basically 2 versus 4. It kind of leaves me asking what's going on in VP's head when they're actually deciding to go for these buys. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit worried about the answer to that.
Yeah, I'm actually, something I don't know too much about this team at the moment is who's calling. Would it be Toa? I'm not sure if he was added into call or if somebody else within the roster is calling, because and obviously in the old Virtus.pro roster it just seemed to change all the time. So I'd actually quite like to know if anybody does have the information. Just you can type it in chat or at me on Twitter, because like that's one of the things that can come from that is like players more making a decision on a whim. Of course, it is entirely possible that somebody on the team at the time is just making mid-round calls and saying, okay, this time we should save, this time we should take the risk, and if that's the case, I don't really have a problem with it. That's them deciding, taking control. But if it's just like, oh, I think we can win this, and then they're going for it, then it's a little bit more of a sort of risky strategy. Either way, they do have the ult back in play, but no armor and very limited utility. Not a single kit in play for Virtus.pro as well. And when you look at where the T's are currently all gathering up, Tora is going to have one hell of a job to do. Nobody really in his vicinity to try and help him out. And while Snatchy with no armor, like forcing his way back into that site is going to be impossible.
Twa's got one, the bomb's down, but the flames keep him holed into the corner. Snatchy does get one, but he has to keep himself alive while his teammates actually make their way over. Now the big man to keep an eye out for is Face Crack, but Face Crack has been brought down, so it's suddenly a 3 versus 2 on this site. Bialy is still a bit too far away to really provide assistance, but he needs to get there quickly. They don't have time, like you mentioned, no kits once again. And Snacks, oh no, that smoke is proving too much for him to deal with. Jerry and XC, they're both still alive, so a lot of firepower over here. XC's got one, but he's been dinked down in trade. 3 HP on him, has to be very careful. A breath could practically take him down. He turns around, Mihu almost caught out, but Mihu gets lucky as he turns to the other side, and Jerry's left in a 1v1, which he will end up losing. Mihu, though, still doesn't have time to go for the defuse. Like we mentioned, no kit, time and time again, does come back to bite VP.
See, the thing that's quite tilting there is, I know obviously this is all hindsight, but Mihu has a full belt of utility that he didn't use and could have just invested that into a kit. So obviously, as said, that's all hindsight. Like maybe if they had gone towards A, all of his utility would have been thrown out. It would have been a completely different story. So, but it's one of those sort of frustrating little details we go, if he had a kit there, it would have been great. Either way, they're back to force buying for the final round of this half after what was, I think, a 6-0 lead for Virtus.pro. has quickly come back to haunt them. They now sit 7-7, and well, it may even be 8-7. This is a fantastic start from the T side. 2 opening kills. Nice shot from Snatchy with the scout, though. Will at least remove 1 from action. And with Flit so low, there is still an opportunity here. You can see Bialy looking to be a little bit more aggressive once again. And he has found a lot of impactful kills so far in this game for Virtus.pro, especially in the rounds they were winning. We saw sort of aggressive AWP picks and, well, plays into middle as well, where he was able to find the frags. The problem here, though, is if we see a mid take, he's not going to have a whole lot of support for Snacks. He's left with just a scout.
I think that's a big point that you hit on over there. The fact that Bialy's been doing a lot of, having a lot of impactful kills, but in the rounds that they have been winning. And since then, it's been quite a while since Bialy's actually managed to get himself any particular frags. Now, still have to wait to see whether he can put up over here, because he's actually ended up moving in for a flanking position. So putting a lot of faith in Snatchy in case they do come in from a short. But Snatchy is a man not to back down from the action. That flashbang will not catch him, and with 30 seconds on the clock, he knows they're moving his way, but he misses the shot. From the side comes another, but Flit will be the one to take him down. Bialy and Snacks in the last round of the half. They've got a kit this time, but it might be too little too late for V2.
A couple of low players could make things interesting, but I like this little setup they've got on short. 3-man take of it from the T side. They want to be challenging. This Snacks has absolutely no chance. And while we talk about impact plays, this would be the biggest one of the half. Bialy left into a 1 versus 4. Jerry already homed in on the angle. He's actually just going to be hiding. My mistake, but either way, watching the cross and fours. What a magnificent comeback. Started very far down in that first half, but have managed to turn things right back into, well, a victory in the first half.
Well, VP kind of really just fighting down individually. A few questionable economic decisions that we already discussed. Nothing you can't bounce back from, but it's definitely a bit of a mental game that'll be coming into play in the second half. Now, pistol round would be a great way to start things, don't get me wrong, but something tells me XC Power is here to play, and that play might be coming through in the pistol once again.
Well, going in onto that CT side, we saw a strong start come out from Virtus.pro in the first half, and I think they'll need to sort of recreate that into the second. I wonder if there's been a pistol dropped for Snatchy. He does. He's got a P250 to try and fight those longer range battles, and well, over on the other side of things, it's just going to be face crack with the flash and kit. I like this. They've actually set up just in case there's going to be a rush B, and he's got a double flash waiting on the door for his teammate to be able to peek out. I like the little setup. It's not going to come into play at all. And now I'm more interested to see what will happen with the rotations, because XC Power's holding long. Obviously, if he keeps playing the way he does, maybe he'll just pop all 4 of their heads as they look to try and challenge him. But there's already a lot of control on the map for the CT side. They've got a man pushed up short. They've got players facing into middle. They can see that there's absolutely nobody there at the moment. It's just whether or not they'll opt to sort of abandon XC Power and abandon the site and look to play the retake from short, or if they're actually just going to really face back into the site and try and stop the T's getting there.
Whatever they're doing, the decision has to be quick because time is ticking, and there still hasn't really been particular amounts of loud spill. Now, Flit wants to be changing that very fact as he wants to get aggressive. 25 seconds, great flashbang, but he doesn't get a single one. Mihu, though, in the end, bringing him down. Impact in that round. Face crack keeps on moving. Snacks is on the other side, but Snacks is ready and waiting, and that wait will be rewarded. And it seems like XC Power is the last one who can actually defend anything, but even he is brought down, and all hope is lost. As I say that, though, Jerry might be the ray of hope they're looking for, but he himself is looking for more than just a ray. He's looking for an entire light at the end of the tunnel, but that ends up being an explosion in the form of Mihu.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe just Mihu as a player in general. Not the most consistent fragger, but definitely someone who can explode into the server and on occasions has been known to dominate it. Fact is, though, both teams are going to be investing into this round. I believe XC Power, it may have been dropped, the scout here. It doesn't actually have much actually spent up, so maybe Jerry with a little bit of extra cash was able to drop that for him. And Well, already we're going to have an early trade as we see the push coming in through long. By the looks of things, they'll probably try and rotate XE Power onto the site. It's just whether they have enough time to actually get him there, and the answer to that is no. Even still, though, we're left in a 3 versus 3. There are smokes for the cross, and they're going to be thrown in the form of flashbangs. But it's face crack from behind. He gets all 3. Great work with the Galil. That'll be an 8k retrieved, and although the second pistol goes the way of Virtus Pro as well, they will not manage to win the second.
That was incredible coming through from Forza. I mean, face crack, could say it's a little bit of luck, but VP definitely some negligence on their end, getting too preoccupied by the 2 players inside CT spawn, who were kind of just providing, not exactly cover fire, but enough fire for VP to be distracted. Now, VP, they're going to be distracted all right by their very, very light wallets as they are trying to figure out, okay, guys, what are we doing now? Are we getting some drive-through? Are we kind of just chilling out in the T spawn, waiting for them to come to us?
Well, I'm interested to see what they do here, because they can't really save unless they're just going to eco the next round as well and then go for a big buy, because unless you get a bomb plant here, and even if you do, it's still going to be a dicey purchase. You don't have that sort of extra round loss bonus once you've lost the pistol, because they lost the second round, which is why it's arguably a far worse fate than just losing the pistol initially. But obviously I'm not saying intentionally lose pistols if you think you'll lose the second round, because that would be insane. Either way, there isn't that much presence over towards the Seisan. Obviously XE Power, he's got an AUG, the preferred weapon at the moment in Counter-Strike, and his opponents have nothing other than that 1D onto Bialy, which may even be a bit of an oversight in terms of spending. But if he doesn't get this entry, I think the other players should just get absolutely shredded by this gun. And well, there's already the first. They're just running to try and get that Deeg. That's what they're hoping for. And they're actually going to pressure him. And somehow he gets overwhelmed, which really isn't bad at all. In fact, the second player's gone down to what is just pure Glocks. That's more damage than probably would have expected from this terrorist side. Now, Snatchy not really in the best position here and should be going down. That took a little bit too long to kill him, but either way, 10 and 8, Fours double their lead to 2. And now the T's, well, this is what I was talking about. Unless they're going to go for a sort of Galil AK no head armor buy and have like no grenades, yeah, they're just going to have to sort of eco this one. This is one of those situations that I'm not the biggest fan of, because if you're going to sort of buy up with Kevlar and pistols, why not do it the round before where you have a much higher chance of resetting your opponent rather than sort of getting a couple of kills with Glocks and then doing the same thing now anyway?
Listen, Tom, if I knew the answer to these economical questions, I probably wouldn't be as frustrated as I was in the first half, but I've decided that sometimes it's best to let things go, and Jerry doesn't want to let this bomb site go, though. But Jerry, you know what? He might be forced to, because Bialy comes in, and 2 headshots from the side means it's a 5v4. Good nades will keep them down, but it's going to be a retake round. Flit wanted to try and prevent that. Incendiary chucked through. Would have been nice to see it a little bit earlier, but it is going to be there when it is. But Flit still trying to get a few kills down. Now remember, Almazer's coming in from behind. Flit's got 1, and now Face cracking it up, positioning in for retake smokes. They're all getting ready to execute onto this site. Practically, Almazer gets 1 from behind, and that means he's locked down the player in tunnels as well. So it's 3v2 on the site. Flit wins out 1, and it's all down to Mihu. Mihu with the P250 doing what he can, but he might be overrun. Face crack gets 1. He's looking for more, but Bialy from the side, and Forz, well, that 1 quick suicide might be a little bit costly.
Oh, no. That's one of the messiest rounds I think I've ever seen. Obviously, retaking the B site, everybody knows it's difficult, but with the amount of utility that was there for the CT side, they should have been able to do it, especially with the limited pistols as well. But the big problem was just the Molotov that was sort of bounced over the wall by XE Power ended up being his own doom. The only person who can kill him is himself, and he has burned himself to a crisp at the end of that round. Either way, great hold from Virtus Pro, and a fantastic entry as well. I think that's the biggest thing. If Jerry even gets 1 or 2 kills there, the retake becomes so much easier. You have a man advantage in any situation. You have the gun advantage. as well. Instead, it's a 5 versus 4 going into the site, and no matter how many bits of utility they seem to throw in, they just couldn't gain the control across that site.
That is a good start, all right. Snatchy flexing a little bit. VP, they're saying that they just want to start things off nicely, and that is going to be a very nice start indeed. Exy, the USB will do what he can, and the answer to what he can do is pretty much nothing. I mean, he pads some stats at the very least. He's a confidence booster. He's a morale booster. I'd write that down on my CV if I had one. I really need to start looking for a job eventually, Tom. One day.
Same. Don't have one at the moment. Either way.
You know what? Flit with that long-range Zeus, I feel like that's getting a little bit ambitious. So Mazer's got more of a chance with the AK now picked up. So at the very least, looking to do some damage. Doubt that he can get away with this AK. That would be criminal. But sometimes crimes are committed, and in this case, it's murder from 12.
Well, 10-10, scoreline equalized, and now we can get ourselves a buy on either side. Jerry's going to be a little bit worse for wear with a MP9 in play, but he has been over towards the B side, so may just opt for a closer range angle rather than the distant one that he has been playing for the majority, and obviously wanting to make sure he has a reasonable amount of utility. Now, after the sort of early presence we've seen from Virtus Pro in the last few rounds, they're going to double up over onto this B site. Fact is, though, not actually pushing in just yet. It's looking like they're going to split through mid. There is a man ready and waiting in the form of Flit, who they've got to make sure they don't bypass. This is an important position that needs to be checked. If they don't check it, they probably lose the round, but only getting away with one. Face Crack is able to hit the timing, and now that one smoke has been deployed. They're not going to expect Jerry, or they do. Snacks! Great shot, and a second as well. Entering into the site fantastically and leaves just Exy Power and Almeza. They've got a smoke and a molly. Don't do it again, Exy Power. They don't have a kit. Now, the question is, I don't know whether or not Jerry might have had one. He did only buy an MP9 into this round alongside all the utility. The problem is, this is the second time now they've got to try and bypass their way into this site. They don't have a man disadvantage this time, but there's just going to be that opening pick in the second for Almeza as well. Nice retake for them. They do have enough time to defuse that bomb as well. And although there's going to be plenty of cash for Virtus Pro to buy into the next round, Fours will take the lead again.
That was really sexy from Snacks, I'm not going to lie. Just that immediately coming through, getting the shot right when you're blinded, and then turning around, finding the second player mid-air. It looked like he really was going to be able to put it all together, but Almeza with a few nice headshots does make it so Fours can still take it away. 11-10, VP aren't out of it yet, don't get me wrong. They're still in a pretty tough situation, because if they lose this round, well, that could very well be 14 rounds for Fours. So this is a big one for them, and Fours too. Keep an eye out on what they're bringing to the table. They've got an AWP and a few other scopes, but yet to be seen what exactly is going to be transpiring. I don't like these positions, to be honest. If you've got 3 AUGs and an AWP, I feel like you should be a little bit more prevalent in trying to take mid control, honestly. Exy Power, though. Oh, he sees the head. Wow. Oh no, Twao gets away. Just barely manages to duck down to safety.
It was so close to him being able to just have a freebie kill. Instead, he's tagged his opponent low. He's going to go back for more. There's nobody there anymore. Although, actually, no, I say that. Mihu is just in the corner out of shot. Will he actually check for this? He's still wary about the second player. Instead, just going to opt to fall off. It seems like there's going to be a lot of individual battles in this round. The play over towards Long, about to be coming in. They have to be careful because the AWP has rotated in, and Bialy's not going to expect Almeza to be that close. Giving that opening duel into the favor of the CT side. In the meantime, they're going to opt to try and take control into mid, but can Mihu hit the timing? Yes, he can, and also hits the head of one. The same spot for Jerry, though, as he peeks out. 3 kills for him, all of them tagged, of course, but none the wiser were this T side. And I want to say that is the second round in a row, I believe, they've used that little position, so it should have really been checked.
Very slow. Ooh, nice shot from Mihu to end things off. That'll actually guarantee him the AK at the very least. But hopefully that doesn't mean a few questionable buying decisions in the next round for VP. Now, anyway, so what I particularly find interesting is the fact that both these teams actually, Virtus.pro did initially have Bialy on mid, but later on they were also going for the setup where you've got one player kind of just watching out from city spawn, one player from window in B, and you're trying to go for a crossfire rather than actually engaging, despite the fact that it's a very AUG-heavy meta. I'd expect them to go for a few more long-range duels. Now that said, now it is time for a few long-range duels over towards long. Flit finds 2, despite being blinded up completely and blocked off by a smoke, so it seems like utility can really only take you so far.
Well, T's already losing 2 men very early on. It's going to leave them in a bit of a hole in this round. But they are going to try and take some control of long. Almaze is still watching with these AUGs. They're so hard to break down. You can see there's 4 alongside that trusty AWP, and they got plenty of utility behind it as well. The T's with their last-ditch effort buy before they have to take themselves what is an eco, and I believe Almeza will have just spotted one over the top of that smoke while jumping, so this gives all the information needed. He's going to flash out, doesn't actually see anybody. They're all in that smoke, and he knows it as well, but he's not going to be able to hit that early frag. 44 seconds left. The T's still have time, and the smokes are working perfectly, and so is Snax. He's got himself another double. The smoke push will come in, and Tao now defends the man that gave them those openings. And well, is XiPower going to go for it? Not by the looks of it. I was hoping for a little bit of jumping off action. Oh, never mind. Straight through the car. Snax is gone. A great opening pick to give them back in, and now he's going to go for a little bit of jump action. Face Crack will take the kill instead, and now it's down to the 2 versus 1. Tao with 16 HP. The push comes through. It's messy, but XiPower finishes it off. What a ridiculous round, but Force have themselves the 13th on the board. And VP with the bomb plant, it will help them a little bit, but the finances, it's not really there. They should be going for pistols here.
Tom, if a chew toy could die, I would imagine it sounds like what you did when that op got the shot.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Actually, it actually is a compliment. It's very creative sound. I quite liked it. It's very fun. That said, though, 30 to 10, and Virtus.pro might be that shoe toy that's dying right now because, well, they don't really have very much money and they don't really have very much going for them. As Face Crack finds one through the smoke, Exi goes for another one on long, and that means that already you're seeing pretty much 2.5 players from VP down and out of the server early in. They kind of just, letting their feelers out, seeing what they can get done across the map. So far, the answer is not very much, but I'm sure that, unfortunately, it's unlikely to change. They don't really have the utility. They don't really have a few flashes that could allow them to maybe overpower a few players on the side. So probably will end up being a quick round. The next one, though, is where things get more interesting. VP have got enough money to go for an AWP. VP have got enough money to go for utility. And let's see whether or not they can actually use that properly, as this round will be a clean sweep from Force.
Yeah, that's an important round for the CTs as well, though. That's the sort of backup plan saved. They get a nice bit of extra money. Obviously, not a single player going down. And importantly, as well, this is when we see Virtus.pro actually go into the buy round. So they've given themselves a little bit of a backup plan, you could say. Either way, 14 and 10. That early lead from VP has now been diminished with a lead taken for fours of their own. The question is, do the Poles have the stones to bring it back just like their CIS opponents did as well? Or is this just going to be the Russians finishing things off? Almeza, he's in this close angle again. Now, we're seeing some repeat strategies taken by fours. I don't think we've seen many of them punished. So Bialy was the exact player that died just around this corner, and this time he's ready for it. Head taken off, flashbang popped in. VP have got themselves a free frag.
That's... At the very least, I mean, they're finally learning from their mistakes. I would have been very upset if that would have been twice in a row where they'd basically forgotten to check that angle. But VP with that early man, now they start looking towards the B site, where if they've realized and Force does like to go for that one-man in window, it's not that difficult to take control comparatively. Now, that said, Force are actually changing up their setup. So Flit is playing from car, and if I'm not wrong, this is the first time we're seeing that. Probably a direct response to one man being down and out, so this could end up being problematic. He's playing anti-flash right now. Knows utility will be raining through. Jerry, in the meanwhile, does find 1, 2, and it could be 3. Lines them up, but the Glock will be what he needs to finish all 4 off. Actually, no, he only got 3 kills. Did Flit get 1?
Yeah, Bialy killed one.
Ah, fair enough. I'm going to credit him with it anyway.
Yeah, Bialy with a little bit of a TK in the mix, and well, he cancelled out his entry frag that he got earlier on. But yeah, a nice little hold there, and Jerry given the space to find those openings. He's tried to do that before and just got absolutely wrecked by the pistols. Instead, well, we now see what is a pretty dicey force buy once again for Virtus.pro. Of course, you can't really argue with it in this sort of situation. They don't have the right weaponry. Now, XE Power, he has no idea that they've managed to push that far down mid. And that's going to be an AWP into the hands of the T's, at least for a moment. Tao's going to take some damage. Flip will be able to trade things back. He's very low on HP. Escaping here is not going to be easy. He's going to leave a lot of this onto our Mesa, who at least does manage one. And actually, the Molotov holds the T's back long enough for a little bit of a reposition now from the CT side. They've got a good opportunity as the rotation starts to come in. The last man on short is the man with the bomb. Tao manages one, and that is all. And it's all left on to me, who he's had some high-impact rounds. He gets the first, but the second not there. Fours, they started a little bit slow into this game, but they have managed to turn the tide and take the victory in actually fairly dominant fashion.
I think a little bit close is really underselling it. To those of you who weren't tuned in at the beginning, Virtus.pro were up 6-0. Force were able to bring things back and ended on 16-10, 16-11, something on those lines. Absolutely ridiculous performance from XE Power in particular in the first half. That said, though, we're going to be very quickly back with the second game, so don't go anywhere. And
The
we have to
Germans.
go some.